Abayomi. Nigerian name meaning bringer of happiness. So you have your child, you see how much joy your child bring the family. So you give them a name representing of that. Yes?
Come link with me under the Iroko tree. Make a reason to every season. Speaking the truth for the youths. Maintaining the spiritual rules. Maintaining the spiritual rules. Maintaining the spiritual rules.
Blessed love. Welcome forward again. Universal family, African family. Under the Iroko tree. Iroko reasoning, spiritual roots, tapping into the spiritual roots of things, as always. And with Hotep, Uncle Jas and Neb, as we come forward in the spirits and energies of Ma'at, Ubuntu. And we shall give thanks to the ancestors, those who taught us what not to do, those who taught us what to do. And we take that breath of fresh air, and we give thanks. Yeah, man, so we're there again. One more of them reasoning there. Yeah? In the heart of nature, as we want to say. Just the way we love it. So this one I know we want to talk about what's in a name. Words. These things. So them tell about cow jump over moon. We get the thing of sticks and stone may break my bone, but words will never hurt me. They lied to us, they tricked us. It was one more of those things. And there's also the question of, are we spelling or are we being spelled? So we want to look into that too. And we say just enjoy the scenery, man. Look at that. Nature at its best. Lovely, isn't it? So we say what's in a name, words, sound and power, all these things. And we want to say the little violent thing we go on the other day with 3 females with 2 of them beat up an ex-young girl where based on what the news say was about just looking at. Yeah? So when we look on that now, that are just looks now, we're not even talking about words. What of them she did say something. So these are the things that we are talking about. And whether we want to call it arrogance or ignorance or any one of these things, it does have an effect. Yeah? Some of the wars, them are the greatest wars them fight. It was based on exchange of words and what was said. And also what was not said. So all these things. So we have what's in a name, words, sound and power, words, and how them affect we. And mother love ones I want to guess what this is. Hold it up so how much you can see it. As we can see, it's a wither somewhat. So those of you who said leaf of life, you were correct. You know what I mean? If you never know it before now, this is it, leaf of life. And why I show this is this put down in the house. No source of water, no source of soil. And as we can see, it a grow. It is putting out sucker, as we call it. Young ones, ready to grow. It put on one barrel top. Yes? As I said, no source of water, no source of soil. So, for me, the name hold power within itself, leaf of life. So this put on without any source of, no sunshine directly, no water, no soil, and it's still a grow. I put out young roots or young plant. So that we're talking about. The name says something based on the characteristics or the attributes or the traits that this plant displays. Yeah, ones can go look up do the research if you don't know nothing about this. Good for coal and all these things. You can chop a leaf and just swallow the juice. Do that, try to do that every morning on one leaf. Yes, a leaf of life, look it up. Powerful. So we have what's in a name. Word, sound and power. Yeah? And then my last name is Campbell. And we did start the little research when I reached nowhere that far into it yet. And then we recognize my last name is a Scottish name. Now me as a black man now end up with a Scottish name. But we don't know what's going on with slavery and all of that something there. So that is how most of we end up with the names that we have. And the places over there, how they are named and all these things. So we lose with African centeredness, with Africanness. What is supposed to be have meaning to us is now trivial and And something we even laugh after when we hear the language, when we hear certain names and all this. So when we look on what's in a name and words and so on and power, when it comes to the, let's say, pharmaceutical industry, we talk about doctors and nurses, we hear them talk about treating. So you have an ailment, a disease, whatever, you're being treated. Hardly ever you ever hear the word cure being used or to get rid of. It's just that they have you on a treatment. So when we check, like the natural doctor, them, let's say the bush doctor, them, the one we go on the herbs and the bush, them, and tell you most of these people you will hear talk about healing and curing. You know what I mean? So when we dissect, treatment is just to keep away symptoms. It's just to keep that thing at bay so you kind of forget so you have it. When we talk about healing, we talk about getting rid of the root of the problem. And then when we talk about curing, we talk about getting rid of the root of the problem. So one of the notion of if your thumb hurt you, it's not necessarily your thumb that's the problem. You need to check the rest of the body to see what's going on. So these things, we got tricked, we got bamboozled, we got caught by words and all these things. So we go through the education system and them say we learn spelling. And then if we want to look on it the next way, it could be that we were being spelled. You know what I mean? So it's to check in, dissect these things and look on it. As we say, we want to challenge some narratives, the things that we claim as normal, because they have been indoctrinated into us, forced into us, take away from what we know in terms of our food, our language, our culture, all of that, and then come teach we a way which wasn't normal to us. It just got that way through generations. So we need to understand that too. So even though them come tell us so them teach with English, if we really check it, a big part of English is not even English. Words like chauffeur, you know what I mean? Italian, Spanish, French, all these other languages come and make up English, but we have it as English, you know what I mean? So that's a part of our dumb downness as well, if we really check into it. So word, sound and power, what's in a name, you know what I mean? So while them say we did a learn spelling, is probably spell them did a spell we, you know what I mean? Put we under that hypnosis state, which we have been in for decades, yes? And seem to not want to come out of it, because so much of us don't want to know anything other than what we already know. And we shun what is considered to be truth, or more truthful than what we have been taught. So we are looking into this, and when we check, we'll go back to African names, and we talk about the indigenous people of any land from which they came. If we check the Indians and we hear them name them, pick like Starshine, Moonblood, Tiger something another, Snake this. It was based on traits and attributes that the child would have been shown or showing while they were growing up. And based on how spiritually tapped in these people were or are with nature and what is happening around them, they could now see traits and strengths and attributes of certain animals and certain trees or what we call it, heaven, let's say heavenly bodies, in terms of from upper sky, this star, moon, sun, all these things. You know what I mean? So they would see the child displaying certain things and name their child accordingly. So we need to check into this. We need to realize when we have a whole land pan, and most of what we have a whole land pan and the ways we do things, it's just based upon tradition. It is not that it means that much to we or us as a people from where we have been and where we're coming from in terms of our origin, as to who we really and truly are, down to the core of us. So we need to check into that. So if me take my next phone yes or now, yeah, I'm going to it and pull it up, because Google, YouTube, these things, what we don't want to learn is what we don't want to learn. So these platforms, even though we know they're manipulatives just the same, we also can use them for good and bad and learn stuff. So if we go into the phone and we search the African names, see? So we pull up a name like Abba. So the meaning of that is born on a Thursday. So even that now you have a sense of which day you did born. See? When we check in this so all these things we need to understand say these the words sound and power. Words do have power. Abayomi, Nigerian name meaning bringer of happiness. So you have your child, you see how much joy your child brings the family. So you give them a name representing of that. Yes? Also she brings joy. You know what I mean? Abdallah, servant of God. That's Swahili. It's a male name. Abayomi is a female name. So these are the things. You know? We give strength. We look at what's happening around us. And Abam, second child after twins. So it'll give you place, structure, it'll give you meaning, it'll give you strength. You have name your child after the snake, after the lion, after the elephant. You know what I mean? You see your child display some good memory. You name him after the elephant. Not display strength and all these things, you learn. You know what I mean? You see him can climb and at a certain age where you expect him not even can do certain things. You know? So you give them name based on how we see them grow, the kind of talents, the kind of strength we see them have. So all these things. So we need to check into this. So when we go check names like, for example, Mike. You know what I mean? What that mean to it? Michael, what that mean to it? So we need to understand how much of a hypnotic state we're in, and the things that we come and take as normal are the things that we really need to get rid of. Because them have us under a spell, under a state of not wanting to find self and get within self and rooted and find that and get back that sacredness of who we really are. Our African centeredness, our African spirituality is crazy. Oh, we can't see these things. You know what I mean? And it seems like we don't want to learn either. We are just bent on sticking to the as them say, the evil way you know. It's probably better than the good way you're supposed to find out. But we need to change them narratives. These, as we say, words, sound and power again. These things were just to keep us where we are, you know, for the most part, if we really want to look on it. You know what I mean? And it don't really make sense. So, word, sound and power, what's in a name? Have we been learning spelling, or have we been spelled? And even within learning spelling, it probably was just the system was set for we learn the spelling, so we end up spelling ourselves. You know what I mean? Keeping ourselves under that hypnosis or that hypnotic state where we can't even find ourselves or wake up from the dumb downness and the slumber we're in. See our women, our queens, nieces, daughters, mothers these days, maybe I should say under the spell of this word bitch. And it is so accepted now that everybody is willing to call themselves a bitch. You know what I mean? Which is a low vibrational representing somewhat of no value. And almost, for the most part, as far as we can see and hear, for the most part, women are really accepting of this. And now it comes through the music or through popularized forums or formats. So it is taken on because the celebrities are willing to throw that upon themselves, and so we are caught up and we're following and we're doing. So we're taking on men are no dogs or killies or these low vibrational things where it is not pulling us up to this standard. It's not bringing us to this sacred principle within spiritual growth. It is just low vibrational and easy going, and yeah, we can't do this. We big enough. You know what I mean? Let me just take this. Why am I go on like more and resist and go on like, and then we all even accept the thing of, not for me I go on like me I'm better than people, and how much people I use it, and there are the two ways about it. One way is you can accept it and not give it power in the sense of, but whether you give it power or not, based on why society is using it and the tags that are attached to it based on societal norms, then that's what you are. See? And then there's also the next side of, you can look on it, dissect it and say, this is low vibrational. Why am I going to attach this tag to myself? Why am I going to allow myself to say, I'm not better than people, so I can accept this too because others admit? What about, why am I going to accept this? Because I not say the value and the standards, the high standards and a sacred principled way of a characteristics is attached to this, or these words. So that we need to check into too. You know what I mean? So these things we just accept because they're popularized, and we see people who we consider famous and being celebrities using these and taking these things on. They are being paid, they are being sponsored, they are to dumb us down and to lead us in our path where we're just gone from ourselves, and we need to look on that. Words, sound and power, the spelling. So we need to check into this, we need to look into this. As we say, so the leaf of life there. What better name you could give that plant? No source of soil, direct sunlight or water, and it is still pushing out young plants. You know what I mean? So this is powerful. So we need to take back our origin. We need to get within ourselves. And the great ancestor, one of the great ancestors, Marcus Garvey. You are people without knowledge of them true past or history. It's like a tree without root. And I think it's Nelson Mandela said, you can't be really proud of yourself until you start looking at your history. So all these great ones before us have been saying these things. Are we listening? Are we looking? As we say in the African, from the African standpoint, there is this word Sankofa, which means going back, taking all the best and looking at the bad as well, because we are learning from the bad too. Not that we need to do it, but you know what I mean, learn from it. Is especially when we see it being displayed by others. And that's the next topic probably I'll come up with, talk about, because we are bent on just repeating anything that have been done before. And what do we need? Is it the experience or the lesson? So if the lesson is there to be learned, we don't need to go through the experience again. You know? So yeah. So Sankofa, you go back and you take from the good and the bad, and you come forward and add what is good in the present and carry all of that forward. So we need to check in, know where name we put them, know where name we children, look at our name, so what it means. And all of these things. We need to wake up. It is time now, we're in the age of information, as they say. And what we don't learn, what we don't want to learn is what we don't want to learn. The information is there for the most part. You know what I mean? So while slavery was thrust upon us, forced upon us, and no one was ever a slave, we need to get that. But people were enslaved, our ancestors were enslaved. So as we say, power in the word. So when we go around and talk about slave, we kind of get the notion, say, boy, we did a slave from birth, which is not no go so. But when we tap at the hand, we say they were enslaved or we were enslaved, we know say that was something that was done to them or done to us. So there we go again. And I take the time to try to learn a little Chinese. And while trying to do that, so there's somewhere I try to capture what going on in the nature just the same way. That was a hummingbird, a doctor bird, as they say. And within trying to learn Chinese, I don't know if it's the program and the translation or something wrong in the program, but that's something I guess we need to investigate or research. But the word for female, I think it's pronounced Newgen, is in or Nigen, one out of the two. And the word for male is Naigen or Nangjeng. See? But within the translation of trying to get the English, we see the program we use to translate it as when it comes to the female, let's say it as a Chika Newgen Sai Hushway, something to that effect, which is female drinking water, something to that effect if I remember correctly. In the English, it is saying the slave, when it refers to the female, it is saying the slave is drinking water. And if we take out the name, the female name, and put in the male name, it says a man is drinking water. So that's something we have to investigate and check these things. So even these things of not knowing the language of others, we don't know what they must say about, we don't know what they must try to do to it, which I think was a big part of the slavery thing that was done to us. And they come around, we treat them as friends, they were saying whatever they were saying, but because we don't understand the language, we never know the plan that was being plotted against us. So, if you look on that too, language, and next topic we're going to talk about God and Bible and this thing of speaking in tongues. If me is a Spanish man in a Spain and you as an Englishman come over in a Spain, of course you're going to hear me talking in my tongue. So just to touch on the Bible thing just a little bit. So the speaking in tongues where we are doing a whole bag of something where it sounds like foolishness. It can't be the same as going to a next man's country. And so if you go to other people's country and hear them attack, they're speaking in their tongues. So it don't have nothing to do with a spiritual thing or as to how we want to look on it. So all these things. So we need to tap in, we need to check in, we need to understand. We need to, you know what I mean, get enthusiastic about learning about ourselves. Where we are from, where we have been, what we have done. You know what I mean? Imhotep. One of the first multi-talented human being, doctor, you know what I mean, builder of pyramids, astrology, all these things. And if we do the research, we'll understand that everything come from Africa. Civilization started there. And the part of the spelling that we are under or been put under is to not have us know all these things. So we don't see ourselves as valuable human beings. You know what I mean? So we need to check in, we need to tap in. We need to just check into some of these narratives. Not just accept them or question them. Everything, question. As we say, we have the gadgets now at our fingertip based on what going on with this world and this so-called virus, and now the internet is being pushed as the main way to communicate. And the information is there. So while we're probably at home, say we're bored, as we don't do a video on that and say, ask what is boredom. Because if we activate learning or the enthusiasm of learning within ourselves, we start know things, whether it's for work, whether it's just for leisure, whether it's just for conversation. It creates a growth. And we start learning things about ourselves, and we begin to see certain things that we are hold on and don't make no sense really. And it's just based on tradition, just like how the way we eat and drink and dress and behavior overall. And I have a next topic to come with, or we're going to talk about meeting the self, because I know we don't meet with self yet. You know what I mean? So I don't think we can hate ourselves or even hate or love ourselves if we don't know ourselves. So therefore, we are busy to take on everything else than actually trying to find out who we are. So we end up loving anything else because we don't know ourselves. You know what I mean? So anything else is better. So we need to check into these things. We need to look. We need to explore the narratives, question these things. You know what I mean? So it's a part of us bringing ones and ones on the journey we die. You know? Who willing to take it? Who know some going to reject it. So, but that's how it go. It's a part of, well, see, we all even accept that as a part of life when it shouldn't even be that way. Because there's no way as being life. There should be something better that's there, and then we're refusing it and then just accepting that as norm, just to say it's a part of life. When we should have push yourself and pull yourself to say, if that is better, then that is where I should be going. You know what I mean? Or going with. Which is what have we caught up in a religion and the type of education we accept as education and growth. All these things. So there's a lot we need to look on, there's a lot we need to question and not just blindly be following. Yeah, so once more we give thanks so we can tap in, touch base and share. And we say comment, like, share. And make we have the conversations going. Tell me if a nonsense me talk, you know what I mean? But we just keep it respectful and all of that. So if I say nah make no sense, then we just nah make no sense. But if me make sense, you know what I mean, and one more person can learn and begin to start question. Yes, because I'm not here presenting anything as concrete and a this must. You know what I mean? It's all about questioning and wanting to know better and learn more. And get rid of what don't make sense and not serve you in a positive way. So, yeah man. top teen once more there, so in nature. See birds and everything they run with there, so I fly and a behave and I go on with themselves. I will give thanks for there. You know, we can hear them part there. So we say, we give thanks. As we say, we come forward in the energies and spirits of my heart, Ubuntu. You know what I mean? So take care of yourself, take care of the environment, take care of the youth them. Like we teach them, we try to give them something better than we there as a hold on pan. And that begins our start where we begin to start learn, as me say, on the journey of learning to unlearn to learn. So we try to give them something better than, I'm going to talk from an internal place, a spiritual, sacred place, principled place. You know? So take care of the environment, take care of the family, seek knowledge, seek a better way for do things, seek the part of learning. I could just do that for yourself, for youth them, spiritually, physically, mentally. And so within the time we're there, I could just be careful as much as possible. Information out there, but we dissect it, look on it, you know what I mean? And not just rush to the wrong side of emotion because them say your life under threat and you need to do this and you need to do that. And we just run on and do what we are doing, not even that make sense with what we are doing. Because for the most part, a lot of our problem is persistent based on the fact that we have problems I use to try to solve problems. So I could look on that too. So it's a blessed love, blessed love, blessed love. Stay safe out there. Do what makes sense. So we also have the topic to come, the cop out of when we are say, boy, we're not ready to learn that or we're not ready to take on that. But if it makes more sense, then what are we waiting on to take it on? So a lot more to be said, a lot more reasoning to come. So it's a blessed love, blessed love, blessed love. Get in tune with the self, take care of the self. Blessed love, world family, African family, universal family. Peace. Be good. And as them used to say, you can't be good, be careful. But be good. Strive for that. Blessed love.
Come link with me under the Iroko tree. Make a reason through every season. Speaking the truth for the youths. Maintaining the spiritual rules. Maintaining the spiritual rules. Maintaining the spiritual rules.